What is going on, everybody? Gold and Blue Dude here with you again. I'm in the middle of my 2020 season predictions for college football, and today we have LSU sticking with the SEC West. I got all my notes ready, so I am ready to roll. So when talking about LSU, the first thing that pops into everybody's mind is Joe Burrow. He is gone. He's shattering some records, a lot of records last year in 2019. But they do also lose defensive coordinator Dave Aranda, which in my view is actually not a bad thing. We will get to that later. So LSU fielded probably the best offense ever in college football in 2019. So what does 2020 have to offer for LSU as far as an encore? Well, let's look at their offense real quick, since that's what took the biggest hit. So Joe Burrow, he's gone. He shattered all them records. He threw for 5,671 yards and 60 touchdowns. And you insert Miles Brennan in his departure. In limited time, Brennan was 24 for 30, 60%, 354 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He does have potential. But can he keep LSU's offense producing at a high level? Another thing, Joe Brady, the guy who was responsible for the passing game for LSU, is gone. So that's another issue they'll have to deal with. But Ed Orgeron, he has tremendous confidence in Miles Brennan. He expects Brennan to explode on the scene, which begs the question, does Ed Orgeron know something that we don't know? Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the Joe Burrow explosion coming last year in 2019, so I'm very interested in this. None of us saw it coming. So one thing that does help with the passing game is the return of the Biletnikoff Award winner, the best receiver, Jamar Chase. Last year he had 84 receptions for 1,780 yards, 20 touchdowns, and averaged 21.2 yards a reception. That is awesome. Along with him is his fellow wide receiver, Terrence Marshall Jr., who had 46 receptions for 671 yards and 13 touchdowns. He would be a great best starting wide receiver on most teams, but on LSU, he's only the second best. But they also do have a great tight end coming in, Eric Gilbert. He was the Gatorade National Player of the Year. He will be a freshman, but look for him to have an immediate impact. One issue that LSU might have is the offensive line. They only have potentially one returning starter at offensive line, so that might be a big issue. They're still waiting on the decision of left tackle Dare Rosenthal. He took some time off, and that would make 2 if that guy came back. So also, they did lose their running back, but they do have experience coming back at running back. Chris Curry, last year, he had a good performance against Oklahoma in the playoffs, but their best returning rusher is Tyrion Davis Price. He had 64 rushes, 295 yards, and 6 touchdowns. This guy is a very, very powerful runner, and he has the potential to be a workhorse. Now, the big thing that I want to talk about LSU is their defense. I did a video on this a while back. Bo Pelini returns as the defensive coordinator to replace Dave Aranda. Dave Aranda went to Baylor to be the head coach. To be honest with you, LSU's defense didn't really impress me much last year until they got to the postseason. That's when they started doing better, but still not great. Now, under Pelini, remember, Bo Pelini was the defensive coordinator for LSU from 2005 to 2007. So under Pelini, LSU's defense, when he was here the first time, they ranked 3rd, 4th, and 17th respectively, with that national championship in 2007, but that came with the help of yours truly. We all remember that chaos in 2007. LSU did win the national championship that year, so you got to give credit where credit is due. To me, I think LSU's defense could actually be better under Pelini. Now, we start out with the D-line. That should be fine. It's returning 3 starters. And also, they're switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3, so they're going to add stud BJ Ojulari at the defensive end, and that will complete the transition from the 3-4 to the 4-3 in the front seven. Now, at linebacker position, LSU did lose linebackers Jacob Phillips and Patrick Queen, two of their leading tackles, so that did hurt. However, they did land the North Dakota State transfer All-American Jabril Cox at North Dakota State. In his career, he racked up 258 tackles. 32 of those tackles were for loss, 14 sacks, 6 interceptions, and 2 defensive touchdowns. Wow, that's a jackpot hit for LSU as far as replacing their 2 leading tacklers. So maybe the linebacker position won't take that big of a step back. Now, LSU also returns possibly the best cornerback in the nation, Derek Stingley Jr. Last year, he had 31 tackles by himself, 38 altogether, 6 interceptions, and 15 pass deflections. And on the other side, potentially inserted to be the starter will be the 5-star recruit, Elias Ricks. So at cornerback, LSU seems to be okay. Another big return for LSU is, and this is massive because this guy has NFL caliber talent. It is safety Jacoby Stevens. Last year he had 53 tackles by himself, 92 altogether, 3 interceptions, and 6. Wow. LSU's offense could potentially take a step back. I actually see their defense taking a step forward. So now I'm going to look at my quick heaven and hell scenario. So for the heaven scenario, maybe Ed Orgeron knows something that we don't know, and you know, the defense will be one of the best in the nation, and Myles Brennan does explode like Coach Orgeron predicts, and LSU either goes 11-1 or undefeated and wins the SEC West and goes back to the SEC Championship. That is a possibility. That is my heaven scenario. My hell scenario, the offense struggles, but the defense is still good enough to get LSU to 8-4, but they don't win the SEC West. That's the hell scenario. That's like worst case possible for me, so that's not too bad. So what is Gold and Blue Dude's prediction? Well, first let's look at their schedule, and I will call out wins and losses. First, they get University of Texas at San Antonio at home. That's a win. Texas at home, win. At Rice, win. Ole Miss at home, win. Nicholls State at home, win. Then they take a trip to Florida, and I think that's where they get their first loss. Then they go to Arkansas. That's a win. Mississippi State at home, win. Alabama at home. I think in a revenge game, Nick Saban will have these guys ready to play, and I think Alabama takes that. That's a loss for LSU. South Carolina at home, win. At Auburn. Auburn's going to be pretty good this year. I think that's a loss. And then at Texas A&M. So the Gold and Blue Dude prediction is 9-3. A combination of a tough schedule, and losing Joe Burrow does take LSU back a step, but it's not a big step. And the defense, however, I do think will be one of the best in the nation. I have LSU going 9-3, but a 10+ win season would not surprise me at all. That's all I got for you today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you for another prediction.